Alrighty, we're rolling. What is going on?
All right, what's the name of the show, Jesus?
Forging the Future podcast.
Forging.
Today we have a very special guest, as we usually do.
Yeah.
But I want to welcome you back. Well, you were gone on our last podcast.
Yeah, man. A lot of changes in my life, positive changes, good changes, and they've kept me away from the game a little bit. So, but I'm back, and I'm happy to be back. All of this is feeling kind of new to me, but
yeah, we got some new equipment here. But,
yeah, you guys are building up. I like it. I like the production. I like what you guys are doing. So I'm happy to be back and back in the seat and talking with you and talking with our guest today. And
yes,
we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Today we have Taylor Foster. Taylor, do you want to introduce yourself real quick? Tell everybody who you're all about.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Taylor Foster. I'm from Grand Rapids, Michigan, originally. And I'm here to discuss, my brand Wolftalk, which is a future, global consulting firm. Is gonna, establish a lot of businesses around the Michigan area, in the plumbing industry, recruiting, staffing agency, coming, just multiple businesses that I'm simply just following a blueprint that I've been given from, the elders and kings and queens above us. So,
nice.
Yeah.
So I did want to get a little bit into your background.
Yeah.
You coming up from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm born and raised Grand Rapids, Michigan too. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to always meet somebody, an entrepreneur, somebody on your level coming from where I came from.
Yeah.
I like that. I really do like that. I want to know a little bit about your background, where you came up, what high school did you go to? What, all that stuff.
Cool. So for the last, now just turned 30 this year. So I've been living in Grand Rapids for 30 years and 30 plus years. And it's just, it's been a beautiful experience. I come from a single mother household. Joanne, I love to give her a shout out because, she's motivation. Coming from, my type of culture and just, just this type of background of having a single mom and being birthed to mostly all women, looked out for me. So, being birthed to that was just motivation to become the man I'm becoming today and just taking the steps that I've been taking. And, I grew up in the public school system and the private school system due to her hard work, wanted me to see different things,
Nice.
Vista Charter Academy, Grand Rapids Christian,
Nice.
Things like that. I went to Catholic kindergarten, St. Andrews, and then my high school, I went to Catholic Central, and I ended up graduating early from Ottawa Hills my senior year because I wanted to play, pursue college football. I tried to play the spring game early. Okay. So, it's always things in the system that you could do to get ahead and, pursue your heart desires and dreams.
Yeah.
So after, that my high school phases and, graduating early from Ottawa, I went to Northwood University. And I signed early at a few scholarships that, I feel like if I had the structure that I've been blessed to see on the journey as we'll just continue to talk, I would have chose a different school. But I signed early to Northwood because I just thought that was cool, having a full ride. And, I didn't have that father figure in the house or that two-parent structure that's naturally needed, I found in the college aspect of things.
And excuse me for interrupting you, but I do want to get a little bit into that because I find it very, I grew up, I did have my mom and dad, but I grew up in church. And so we dealt with a lot of teenagers who didn't have dad in the household. Yeah. And seeing the obstacles, seeing what they had to overcome, coming from a family that did have mom and dad there and seeing them. Yeah. And seeing how they had to overcome that kind of stuff. That's very inspirational to me, very motivational. And then seeing you here today, being able to reach the level of success where you're at today. And you talking about just having the one mom in your house and not having what people would consider the normal structure, right? Yeah. Can you talk to a little bit about that obstacle, what you saw as obstacles or what you saw as maybe what you had just mentioned, that structure and how you overcame and how your mom was very influential in you coming up to be the man that you are today.
Of course, and that's what kind of Wolftalk is based on.
Yep.
I'm just gonna pull this back just a little bit. Doesn't have much of a filter on it, so you can stay about that.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. And that's what kind of Wolftalk is based on, is coming from these type of structures. Seeing, God letting me be able to see the one parent home side of things, and then as you see, I've got to experience a 2-parent home side of things going to college. So coming from the struggles that I've seen, first, this is America, so we deal with a lot of barriers from just natural, just this human being experience, from culture, races, things, perception, stereotypes.
Right.
And, what I seen that motivated me in that one parent structure home setting was, I never seen my mom give up. I never seen her take shortcuts, welfare. I never seen her, do the things that average, stereotypical things, say that African American or that the black culture stems to do. Now, welfare and stuff like that, everybody do. All races, cultures, genders is, but I found through this one parent structure, that I experienced that it wasn't, it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't like a hindrance. It wasn't, something to look down on. My mom did the things 2 parents did. Yeah. And she made a choice mentally. It takes a strong individual to make a mental choice to keep God first in your life, but to also not give up on yourself. Yeah. And I give up on the kids, or your kids. I have a older sibling, a sister. It's a 10+ year difference, so we weren't that close. So
and it's just the one sibling, just
yeah,
you
just
and
one.
Okay.
And she decided. She's a lawyer. She decided. Once she got 18, she went to Florida A&M, and she stayed in Florida and Atlanta, and that's where her business is. So she didn't come back home, So she just, that's how it is, It's just genuine stories like that. And I don't know how, her and my mom grew up together. I seen things, but I didn't really, that 10 year, I didn't really understand things until now that I'm becoming more as a man. Yeah. And so, building with my mom, it was a lot of lonely days, because when you're funding a whole household, you don't have that man as a balance. Your time goes to what? What do you need in America to survive? Yeah. Money. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. So she had to go to work. Mm-hmm. And her love would be her financing things and being there for me if I needed it.
Right. Yeah.
I learned, I don't know what it was. I just know it had to be godly. I always just played naturally. I did what she needed me to do. Mm-hmm. My mom has a learning disability, dyslexic and some other things. So she always kept me busy reading. I didn't really understand why she was putting me through all this tutoring and reading, acting classes and yoga so early. But she needed, I remember I seen her crying on the toilet. I'll never forget this. I was 12 years old. Seeing her crying on the toilet. Whatever, I was peeking around the corner. And it was probably bills, some stuff I didn't really understand. Mm-hmm. But I remember, I'll never forget it. I had made a vow that day to myself, I'm just going to be something. I didn't know what to be. See, when you come from, my community, my race, culture, I'm a black man in America. When you come from no structure like me, your influences may be men from the streets, players, dealers, hustlers, really movie stuff. Like, it's just no pretending. Then you got the workers, I never seen a black man until I got older or around a certain cast, as we'll talk about. But I didn't see nobody doing what I'm doing, trying to be an HR, representative. I want to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. I want to be a president of human resource management. This stuff wasn't shown to me, and it's not common.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Do you think that because your mom was an entrepreneur, although that she was a single mom, because she was an entrepreneur, did that change your mindset in a certain way where you were like,
Yeah,
she's getting it this way, I want to get it that way too?
exactly. I wanted to be business minded, and I wanted to be important like her. You know, Joanne, my mom, that's her name. Joanne is a top hairstylist in the state,
Wow.
and it shows in her results. You know,
Now does she run her
Spencer,
own business then?
yeah, she's been had her own
Wow.
business shops.
All right.
You know, her own beauty shops.
Okay.
She has her own, you know, hair care supply chain.
Yeah. Shout out to Joanne.
Yeah,
And we
Wow.
wouldn't have the pleasure of meeting you if it wasn't for your mom too, and for Spencer that got us connected.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
Actually, I got in touch with Taylor through his mom, Joanne. We met in kind of like a happenstance way. I used to do real estate videography and photography.
All right.
And when I was out on one of my jobs, I just happened to be shooting where she was living at the time, and got in contact there. Ended up getting in touch, doing a couple shoots for her hair care brand,
Okay.
the Team Healthy Hair stuff, and I got that a couple videos made for her that way. I shot a couple photos for. I believe she does some kind of interior
decorator.
design.
Yep, she's one of the
Oh,
top
she does it
interior
all,
designers.
Yeah, she's a pretty awesome lady. She has a lot of hats in a lot of places.
So if you ever go to her website, Team Healthy Hair, and see all those pictures,
Can you repeat the
I did-
website for
we
those
got-
who are listening?
My old company did some of them. Yeah,
All right, but Spencer had some plan.
I had some plans. But yeah, that's how I got.
We
in
do want to
contact
give a
with
shout
her.
out to your mom. I mean,
Yeah.
That's very inspirational to me to have a single mom. You know, there's a lot of setbacks, a lot of obstacles, but she didn't allow that to hold her back. You know?
Exactly.
She just went and said, I got to take care of business. I got to do it for me. I got to do it for my son. And you having that example in your life, you know, you took that into your life and you said, I'm going to take care of business too. I got to just take care. There's a lot of obstacles. You know, I'm a Hispanic man. You know, we face certain things as well. And
we're in the same boat.
yeah, I mean,
This is America. Sometimes
I mean, I do feel blessed to live in the United States.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but there are certain things here that kind of hold us back because of the color of our skin, because of our culture.
You feel it.
Yeah, you can, and we are able to. You see those things, and some people will allow those things to hold them back or make them into something that they don't want to be. But because everybody just expects that from them, that's who they're going to be, right?
Yeah.
And you know, both my parents, they struggled. My dad worked 2 to 3 jobs, you know, growing up. We didn't see him a lot, you know, but he kept God first. He was still in church. My mom, same thing. She had to work, you know, and me and my brother, we were latchkey kids.
Yeah.
So, you know, we grew up with that, but seeing them doing it, seeing them out, they never made an excuse. I never see my parents rest. They were just go, move. And so, you know, hearing you, that I could see myself too. I'm like, man, yeah, we got a lot in common when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, you know, I like that about you.
As far as Wolftalk, you said that you try to change the way that people perceive the environments that they're in. So, I mean, we really come from environments where it's like real toxic, like being Hispanic and that sort of thing. We don't really have too much leaders to look up to.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could attest to that as well, especially from Grand Rapids. We don't really got too much people that we could say, you know, I want to be like this person. That's really, like you said, like ballers, social media stuff, you know. So how do you change the mindset of the youth when you try to tell them, I want to be a CEO like yourself or somebody working in the human resources?
Yeah.
How do you change that perspective where kids nowadays, they only want to be certain things, athletes, you know, that sort of thing. How do you change that narrative?
Yeah, and that's why, you know, I changed the narrative by living righteous right now. You know, throughout my 20, like what I just shown you, you know, how I use social media, Instagram. I know humans, they only want to, you know, it reads, you know, in the Bible, the wisdom could come from a man or a woman in sackcloth. You know, you just never know, you know, where you could get the things or the wisdom that you need to reach your heart desire. So how I reach out to the youth is Wolftalk is, you know, about making the right things look good to do. right to do, icy to do, fun to do. You could, God is so beautiful and icy, how he has formed this human being experience in this game. It's like, it reads in Matthews, don't live overly righteous. So how I live and narrate to, the youth or, peers around me, it's a time and place for everything.
Right.
Everybody has vices. Everybody has things that they deal with, things that they do to comfort them, things that they do to have fun, things that they do to balance them.
Right.
And it's as simple. So it's like I try, it starts with the individual first, and that's walking in a righteous manner. Sometimes human makes the simple things the most complex. Waking up this morning, I chose to go do cardio. I chose to work, clock in on time. I chose to it's choices.
Right.
So if humans see what I get motivated about, Wolftalk is formed around my mom, my godparents. I started off, if you got, Wolftalk messages, it's on Instagram. It has 200 plus followers. And it's my public journal. I had over 200 plus subscribers on a website, wolftalkonline.com. We chose to take that down, just simply because we see the tractions on social, these, like Facebook, and Instagram. So we just chose, that's extra. So we take in, I'm one of the biggest writers in the country. Like, I know my mom, my goddad's one of the top eye surgeons in the country. My mom is one of the top hairstylists. Wow. So it's like I take this, I copy the elders and the kings and queens before us simply like it reads, and I just follow the process. We live in amongst Generation Z and some millennials. This is the time of the microwave generation. Everybody wants stuff quick.
For sure.
Everybody wants stuff overnight. Everybody wants a shortcut. Yeah. But it reads, we're godly. I know, everything is a process. It's levels of things. People do not, I found in this human being experience, humans just don't want to, some want to be more than what they are. Some want to rush the process. And that's not how you get to your life, your heart desires. This is really simple, but humans just choose to do it their way, and that's what this thing is about. It just results. Our results showing that we're doing something right in this moment because where we're at now.
How do you tell the youth that it takes time to get these things? Because usually, like you said, these next generations, including myself, I would say, I'm Gen Z. We want to get things fast, but it's not fast. It's usually good things don't come fast. So how do you tell the youth, it might take you 10, 20 years to get these things, but eventually if you follow the right path, you'll get there. Is there anything that you do to I know that you show it as an example that they can attain these things if they follow your path. But how do you reach out to them and tell them these things?
I reach out to them through, like I stated, through my social media, Instagram, but I literally try to walk by example. This is like, I try not to get so caught up into what I already have studied and know and feel. I can't always give my time to humans. I can't give it always to social media. Yeah. I can't always give, and that's what we're not supposed to do those things. Like I know he knows. It's just like, you read. You're not supposed to have many friends, or not. It's not about having friends, but you're not supposed to have many. It's like this journey requires you to be alone sometimes. Right. This human being experience requires you to know how to love yourself. So I just literally, thank God, that he provides me being on the news, things, just natural stuff, me coming to stuff like this. But it's really simple. You have to submit to knowing God and literally taking things day by day. It's that simple. You cannot rush. Like if you want to continue to be, if you're 24 or 25 right now, why would you want to rush to be 26, 27, 28 or 37? You don't know what comes with that. You may not be ready for the responsibilities, or you may not be mentally, ready to stop being selfish. So it's key to walk by example and just to enjoy this journey and enjoy where you're at. Like I'm finding right now, I'm a talent acquisition specialist, a recruiter, but I want to be a manager, a talent acquisition manager. I want to be, an HR business partner. But through American standards, it's not. At first, it's connections, but it takes time. You got to have years of experience. Years of 5+ years of experience. I only got 3. It's everything they set standards. So it's like it's like might as well just enjoy where I'm at and honor my body.
Enjoying the process, as opposed to just trying to get to the end result.
Yeah,
because the process is what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It does sound like God is a big part of your foundation. Where you start off at, you keep bringing that up, the Bible and God and all those things. And, there is a verse in there in the Bible that does say, those who have, God will give them more.
Yeah.
And, and I always go back to that as well, kind of to me that says, like, if you acknowledge what you have and work with what you have now, you're going to get more. And that's a little bit of what you're talking about is, where you're at right now.
Yeah.
I'm a recruiter right now. But I'm going to work with what I have now so that I can obtain more later.
Yeah.
Right. And so, that's huge in this generation, whether, you're religious or not, you don't believe in God, whatever it is. But it's still good foundation.
Yeah. You have to play the game and learn to accept.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of humans just don't want to accept.
Yeah.
They want to fight against, the cards they've been dealt. And it's like sometimes you just got to accept it and mold things to where
work with what you got.
Yeah, work what you got. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And going back to just saying like it's just like going back to the foundation of Wolftalk, where what it truly represents. It represents men like us, women that reflect us like us, those that are trying to strive to do right even when it's hard. The hardest things is doing the right things, because it's easy to do wrong. It's easy to not go to work, do drugs, have sex before marriage, or have a kid before marriage. People don't even Wolftalk is meant to show the balance of what the right things are doing will do for you. The small example, I'm seeing so many 16 through 26 years old having kids before marriage, and it's like it's like they eliminate their individualism, their time. They don't even know why they're a parent or what's the purpose of being a parent. Like, once you have a kid, you're giving up your individualism. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's no more being selfish. It's no more rocking Louis, Gucci, going to the club, concerts, trying to go out the country.
Well, the sad thing is that there are a lot of parents who still try to do those
things. And it's the millennials and Generation Z. And they burn themselves out more. They stress about things. They can't relate to them.
Do you think? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Do you think that a lot of that stems from being on social media and looking at people doing the same things and trying to imitate those people? Because it does seem that, I can't speak on previous generations, but on this generation, a lot of people just try to copy. Try to copy things that either they can't afford, cars that they can't drive, that sort of thing, and live up to those standards when they should be focusing on getting by.
Yeah.
Humans are seeing too much. We're not supposed. It's levels of seeing things, and we have too much accessibility to people's only showing their good times, good phases. It's easy to show when you just bought a watch or when you're in scenery. But are they showing the days, the hard, gritty days that gets to that? The point of saving, the lonely days, and like, oh, I can't do this, whatever. They're only showing the flashy, what the money brings.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And that's not how
you said you do a lot of journaling. Do you talk about those hard times as well in your journals?
Yes, I have. But now you will see, if you look at Wolftalk messages, on Instagram, they are now short. They are direct, short, and quotes. Before I talked about, the steps and the trials of being in the fire and things like that. it was a lot of writing. They were hits. But like I said, that was on the website, wolftalkonline.com, that, me and my village just decided to take down and try to, go about, now we do Wolf Talk, like how we see humans make these memes. You guys are aware of that. And there are always some, you could tell it's some broken human being writing it. Yeah. Somebody that's been through too much or seen too much. Yeah. And it's like, okay, it's a blind leading a blind on the internet. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that it's like how I rather people forget to literally, like it reads, why would I want to counsel or reach out to the internet to find wisdom when I should go try to find wisdom from somebody that actually is living a life literally in black and white on paper and results physically. Yeah. Why not go talk to the elders? Why not talk to, befriend those that, they may have some years of age over you, right? But that's the goal of trying to fill that age and phase of where they're at.
Okay. Yeah, and for people who don't have access to those elders, where should they look? Because, like we talked about previously, a lot of people don't have those leaders in their life, or they don't have a father or somebody to look up to. So where do you reach out to try to find the elder?
That's why I'm making a sacrifice of myself. Like it's not easy living righteous, bro. It's not it's not easy making the right choices, sitting down 100%. Or making. But that's why it's like I started Wolf Talk, because I'm like, I noticed when I was in the trenches, which that's areas with peers that may not see the things that I've seen. Everybody don't get to see Lamborghinis, lake houses, Aspen, going out to a lot of stuff. Everybody don't get to see the dirt, single parent aspect, the how am I gonna pay this bill, or why, who's gonna balance and love me as a woman, where's the man at, or the man, vice versa, why did my wife go leave me, or my chick leave me for somebody on an internet ball, or somebody that's looking like they doing something. Yeah. So I decided Wolf Talk is gonna be something where somebody, Generation Z or millennial peer of mine, could reach out to or go to and, read like I do. I just literally try to walk, do what is it, I try to just walk by example. And I get blessed. Like I show, the results show physically for me, I get, it's not easy, but somebody has to do it. That's why when I counsel with, go to instruments like you two, you guys are young. It's like, I hope you guys are walking in righteous manners to affect the people in your community, your culture, just to do right, just to live.
And you also like to give back. Like I seen that you had the icy flag football.
Yep.
And so you gave back to a homeless shelter here in Grand Rapids too. So.
Yep, I've been giving back to Mel Trotter for the last 10 plus years. It's on the internet things. I started off serving at Mel Trotter with my grandmother, another strong woman in my village. I love the Wonder Women. I call them the Wonder Women in my village because it's like they just molded me to be like a winter soldier and just to be important. So it's like I just simply copied her. She took me to one event, to serve, those that are in need during Thanksgiving. I just kept doing it because she was motivation. My grandma, my mom, they got their own houses. They doing it without men, and they're keeping God involved. So I thought that was icy and sweet to do, and they have a life as well. So I felt like, okay, as long as I do these small right things, giving back, give back to the poor, give back to the those that are not fortunate. Right. I'm not rich or anything. I benefit off my hard work and sometimes overflowing of the cup of the blessings of the elders or my, the guardians of mine. But I find that giving back naturally brings more opportunities like these, like, little good brownie points at work. It's about giving the energy you want to receive back. It's that simple.
It's reciprocal. It's reciprocal.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever you give out is what comes back to you, and whether it's positive or negative.
And that's all I'm trying to just show my peers and friends and colleagues, and even those that are older than us. It's just like you can't forget to do this small stuff, because we seen, my grandfather, who was a big influence in my life as well. I seen him give back through football. My last name, Foster, that my people played football. They were all Americans. They got that great football story, but the downfall is always falling too deep in the worldly activities. That's lust. That's drugs. That's making the wrong choices that are selfish. That's what a lot of men in our culture that we have in common, the Latina and the African American cultures. We know sometimes men and women make choices that are worldly, and they forget about the things they create. So I found that I was simply gonna just copy I was gonna copy. Basically, I just been copying the good things that I see people, the elders and people around me do. So going back to my grandfather, just like why I did that IC flag football game, it's just to remember him when he died or when he passes. I know things aren't always the best in families. You know how that is. Yeah. But it's about taking the best out of people that God's naturally brought close to you and making it positive. It's about sometimes treating people right even when they may not be treating you wrong. And it's about reflecting those who created you in the best way manner. So it's like,
and it's also a healthy way to give back, because you're getting a community to do a workout or activity that's physical. And so in order to be happy, you have to be both physically healthy, take care of mentally healthy, and spiritually healthy. So it's all those three things that play a big part into having a positive community. Because I think that sometimes we might look at things like our financial, and not care so much about like our physical.
Or we think that the financial is going to take care of the mental and the spiritual.
And it has to be all three. It has to be a balance, because without one, there's no stability.
Exactly. And that's what Wolftalk is for my peers. It's just to be like, it's a time to be cool and live hippie life and free. Then it's a time to work. Then it's a time to spiritually be in touch with yourself and your mental and make choices that fit that honors your body and those around you and the world that you're building. So
we did miss it. It looks like you had this IC flag football back in November.
Yeah, November 23rd on Wednesday.
It looks like you're doing it annually. This was your second annual.
Yep.
So next year we're going to do it again.
Yeah, and I'm actually doing something else, to get back.
Tell us about it, because for those who are listening, if there's anybody out there who is interested in donating or getting involved in these things, please tell us a little bit more about those opportunities. Yeah, and the next one I'm doing, this is actually a surprise, but I just said, just living in the moment. I'm actually going to be giving back to a local football league that's starting. My grandfather used to be, a big face of it. And then it was a Rocket League that I played for. You guys know how it is, Rocket League 78ers. So, and things are getting back rejuvenated. So I'm going to give back to, form an event to give back to those that are upstarting that, league, and, just help with the jerseys or just something simple, Yeah, sure. How can people get involved with that kind of stuff if they want to?
I'm going to be doing, follow, I definitely advise them to follow Wolftalk messages to keep, updated. I will be creating flyers. I have a team that will be promoted on Facebook. Okay.
So if we wanted to find that stuff, that would be on Facebook, Instagram. We just look for Wolftalk.
Wolftalk messages.
Okay, Wolftalk messages.
And I know we have some other, my personal one. If Taylor Gang 616, that's just personal, but I always blast up through there. Yeah, sure. So it's just that natural, just using my team and, those that naturally help me like you guys to get it out there in the flyer, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And the purpose of this podcast, for those of you guys who are listening for the first time, welcome. We really like to talk about how, people, especially locally, how they're coming up in their business, how they started. And you talked a little bit about your childhood, having a mom who was an inspiration to you. Tell us a little bit about the education aspect of it. Where are you at with your education? Were you able to complete your college years?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So after high school, And going into college, I have my bachelor's in human resource management.
Okay. At Davenport, right?
Yep, at Davenport University. Shout out DU Panthers. And I got my associates in business administration, and I'll probably, I'm gonna be keeping my word to John Hume and Miss Cat and somebody that's been helping me, Richard Baker, and get my master's there as well.
Okay. You're still going then for?
Yeah, I'm going to be getting my master's.
Nice.
I'm going back in 2023. I just been, trying to get, balance out working in this, this corporate lane.
Yeah.
And balancing out bachelor life. Yeah. So it's like, I'm doing it's levels of life. You have to have, and that's what we'll talk. It's about, you have to when you're pursuing education, you need stability. Mm-hmm. Those that are listening, probably gonna you can't get a degree or go to college without stability and a mental and spiritual balance. I learned. Yeah. Like, it was so hard going to college with a single mom situation because I'm doing all my FAFSA, all my accounting stuff, keeping track of that, and then got to fill out all type of scholarships and financial aid stuff.
You mentioned you also had to take some time off from college, and then you went to Alma, I think.
Yep, I went to Alma. I got another scholarship there, and then we could go. That story. That I took time. I was at my junior year, 72 credits plus, and my mom, it was some type of bad contract, something I'm not gonna say too much, but I know she probably needed more assistance, and this is why it's so important. I'm trying to be the man that I'm being now and gonna become, because I found if my mom had a man at that time, or my father in the household, she could have got that balance and help she needed. At that time of going to Alma, it was like that recession year, early, that 2000, going 2010. Yeah, you guys remember. Yep. And she lost our hair salon in our 4 or 5 bedroom house that she worked hard for in Kenwood. And I just had, I had to come home because it's like, once you don't have any taxes information, your mom in that type of situation, something probably new to her as an individual, or she got to work her. It was like, I can't focus. I gotta go back home.
You talk about that, and again, that's inspiring to me because in life you're going to have setbacks, right?
Yeah.
And for your mom to be able to do it by herself, get her business, get the house she wanted, and then still have to let that stuff go because of things that were out of her control.
Yeah.
And people would, there's kids that I work with that say, well, so-and-so can do it because they have it easy. They don't live the life that I live. They got, I got so many obstacles. And then hearing you say that, you got your mom in this situation where she made it.
Yeah.
But then she had to let go of it. But she kept going even after that. And so many people will be like, well, I did it and it got taken away from me, and then they give up. That's life though.
That's not Wolftalk.
Right. I love that. So
Wolf is about, wolves survive in all weather, all seasons, and they lead their packs, and they actually help each other. They mold each other to lead their own pack, and that's what Wolftalk is about, just giving them wisdom each individual needs in order so they can lead their own pack. So when I see my mom surviving, my grandma, people around me, women around, it's like, okay, we're wolves in this human being experience, that's the part of, God made everything. So it's like, wolves gotta survive like humans gotta survive. Animals and humans are the same. Gorillas, all. So it's like, you just can't give up. You can't stop surviving. You can't stop leading a pack.
I like that imagery that you just set there, where it's, to survive, you can't do it by yourself. You can't. You got to be able to trust other people. You got to be able to do it. Yeah, you got to be able to do it together. There's a lot of people who have that mentality, that survivalist mentality, but they're thinking like taking away from others. I'm going to survive by taking away from you. And the imagery you just gave was, I'm going to survive, but we're going to survive together. We're going to work together to make this happen. Right. I love that. I do love that.
And I'm going to, just like, Sean, you guys, I've been on a lot of shows, radio, I have to give now, after, the DU, I chose not to give up. it was hard leaving a private school like Alma. And, if it's a great healthcare school, things like that. But I had to give it up. Yep. But then, going back, I had got a job, working at a factory, just helping my mom, stuff like that. You can only imagine. But like I remember that vow to myself, like, man, I'm gonna be something. I know she gonna need me. It's about like she looked out for me, taking care of me those years, and it gotta be, she created me. What I read, she created me to in her elderly years to return the same. Yeah. So I remember that about myself at 12, seeing her cry, and then seeing her cry more. You know how they're just seeing just natural stuff. You should have seen her. She ain't like losing that stuff, but she kept her head high. Yeah. It shows in the results. So I decided to do the same thing, and when I reapplied, after after working a factory and stuff, I reapplied randomly at Davenport in Michigan State and Grand Valley, and I got accepted. I chose Davenport just to stay close to my mom. And
you talked a little bit about applying for FAFSA, financial aid, all that stuff. And,
by myself.
Right. So it very similar to my story as well.
Exactly.
My parents, my dad worked 2 or 3 jobs. My mom had to work too. But they didn't have an account separated. They weren't saving up for that kind of stuff. No. They were surviving.
Like we
got bills to pay today. Yeah. We can't really think about that stuff. And and I understand it. So growing up, getting out of high school, I didn't have this nice little cash cow or this bank where I could just pull money out and start going to school. I had to do the same thing. Look at financial aid by myself. Yep. Get a job.
Learn again.
Pay it myself. And so talk a little bit more. I do want to hear a little bit more about that because I find it inspiring to anyone who may be listening who thinks, wow, I can't make it because I don't have a daddy who's got $1 million. I don't have somebody who could just give me money so I could do these things. Well, I didn't have money. You didn't have money.
Yeah,
and we're doing it.
So going back, it literally, it was so fun, this human being experience, such an adventure, watching my mom doing stuff by herself. I just decided to be like, if this little cute woman could do it and she don't be, she doesn't have the education, education as my friends and their parents, sometimes it was hard going to these rich schools, she put in me, I'm just understanding why she did it, as I'm growing as a man, it's cool knowing now, I fully know, but it's like, it was so key that she did because I would always be, I always be around the best kids, It was cool being around the Gossians, Tiedemanns, DeVosses, a lot of good families in this city. But sometimes I'd be getting, a little, jealous or, like, dang, they got they got their people to help or they got, they got stuff set up for their future and whatever. But I decided seeing them have it good and just, hanging and vibing with them, I made it a mental choice young to be like, all right, I'll just be around these type of families and individuals and colleagues God put me close to natural and just take the best out of not just my friends, but who created them, their parents. Right. Because I knew already, like, my mom wasn't talking about setting up for college. She just wanted me to go and be like because she didn't know. When people not doing, like I said, if I'm the first to get my degree, as a man in my family, I'm the first to be walking the HR path. It's like I'm the first at doing a lot. So it's like genuinely, it's like it's about making a choice. That's why I always fall back to God because, bro, that's the only, like, once you get close to God and you really just in your spare time just try to read and research and study, you will know the vibe and energy like I know you.
And although you didn't have, people like, I don't know, the DeVos had their family that took care of them financially, because you're doing what you're doing now, your kids could say, well,
I gotta be the foundation.
Exactly. And you're doing it for future generations to come, and then they'll look at you and say, well, he did it, and so we could do it too.
Exactly.
So you're setting a big example for the community as well here in Grand Rapids, because I don't think that there's really too much people like that we could look up to.
And it's that simple. Like, we could have the Floyds, we could have the Floyd Mayweather, the DeVosses, all the big names, but we'll talk about for us, like, we could be at the top of our individual worlds as a janitor, as an IT person, as the top, web designer, as a top HR. It's this Wolftalk is to lead us to being at the top of our world and being an example that the packs around us or the people around us need, and they could copy and keep us balanced.
And then again, how do you get somebody to look into these other options? So for people that say, well, university isn't for me, school isn't for me, how do you tell them that education does have some value in obtaining these
You're
goals?
gonna have to get this is America. This is you're gonna have to be educated in a trade.
Yeah.
If you want to be, help people fix their credit,
Right.
So, this internet, you see humans always try to take the shortcut route to having a status or title name.
Yeah.
But you have to be educated.
Yeah, knowledge is power.
Whether it's university education or, any education, as long as you're educated.
You're going to have to get a certification. I'm talking about, and I'll go back to that, but it's like, you're going to need to be certified. You're going to you're gonna need something. I'm talking to my god brother who I met in college, and his family helped me, to give me that boost of where I am. But now I'm talking to him, how he wants to level up, and no matter how connected he is or how who his family is, whatever, he's finding that people are not just gonna give him. They want experience. They want that black and white paperwork.
Skills,
For sure.
So it's like you're gonna either have to have experience at something, years of it, or you're gonna have to have that paperwork, certification.
And even when you have that paper, you need a combination of both.
Exactly.
Like, you might have the certification, but if you don't have the experience, then they'll be like, well, you still need experience.
And it's that simple, and that's what humans are. That's why I started Wolftalk, because it's like I'm kind of scared that people are gonna, they're gonna keep thinking this is microwave, this is quick, they're seeing this, having too much access to people's lives and seeing the internet, thinking this is just so fast. Whereas like the baby boomers and the elders they built it. This world wouldn't be if it wasn't for people above us. And it takes process. It's simple. It just takes process, experience, and education.
Yeah.
You can't beat time. Just like you guys created this. It took time. It took thinking. It took research. It took patience. You just can't jump into something, not play.
More importantly than that, it took a team, because it wasn't just Will and I. It was Spence. It was Jeff. And we couldn't do that without him.
And sometimes, sometimes people want to forget about that team aspect.
Yeah.
You really need a strong team and pack around you. Every individual needs to be wise. Every individual needs to, be experiencing their heart desires or some type of form of balance to bring that energy to keep building a team, to keep building the industry. Yeah. So
me and Jesus, and this is not a plug for where we work at, but Jesus, we do work for a staffing agency, and I have seen stories. I have seen people who start off with a staffing agency. I worked for this staffing agency part-time in the beginning, through the staffing agency, and today, because of the grace of God, I'm in a position. Again, I'm just grateful where I'm at today. Yeah. All right. But it all started off with me working part-time through a staff. And so there's a lot of people like, well, you're never going to see me frying, a burger or French fries. You're never going to see me.
Never say never.
Right. Sometimes that's where it starts. And you just got to be able to work with what you have at that moment to be able to get where you want to be. And so that's what, you're talking a lot about that, that process. You're 30 years old now. Yeah. You've got Wolftalk. You're doing fundraisers. You're working up, and yet your eyes, your vision is set on the future. This is what I want to be, and I understand there's going to be a process to get there. And I love that. And I wish a lot of if anyone's listening, if you're just starting off wherever you're at, it's going to be a process, but always keep your eyes on where you want to go. and understand that you're going to have to go through that process.
You're going to have to go through the fire and the storm. Nobody is exempt from failure or success or going through trials and tribulation. It's that simple. Like, we all go through it.
Yeah.
And, going back to finish, what I want people to hear, don't give up. Because if I would have I wouldn't be sitting in front of you two Go to Instruments, Top Wolves in Your World, if I gave up. When they took, Davenport didn't accept my 78 credits from Alma.
You said they only took like 32 credits?
They only took, they took 24.
Oh, 24. Wow.
And you know how many, it's so crazy. I took this conversation to my inner city friends, just for fun. I call them hood wolves, or just, about legal. Just, I took them to my, some inner city peers just to share with them. And then I shared the story with just like, okay, my college friends, my boys in Spring Lake. And I told each story, and it's so funny, the difference. Like, I took it to my inner city friend, and they was like, oh, bro, you might as well, keep hustling, keep gambling, forget that school stuff, they ain't gonna get you whatever. Just, keep working and try to get a team lead as a factory line. They tell, right. They were fearful. I sense fear in that conversation. I sense giving up, like average, like, okay. Then I took the conversation to my Spring Lake friends and, my college boys. And it was like, so what you gonna do to your father? I said, I'm gonna just still take the enrollment, start the classes. The financial aid lady, I said, your financial aid will be running out, but if you keep your grade point average at a certain level, whatever, you'll get scholarships and things like that. So I stuck on the positives, like, okay, what if I don't give up? I just stuck on the positives. Like, it's about building on the positive, not always building on the negatives. It's easy to build on the negative. But if you get a glitch or a seam of just some good positive outcomes or solution, it's like, man, let me just bank and bet on that then. Yeah. And that's what I always do with myself. I always bank and bet on a positive and the positive solution and outcomes. So I took it to my friends and I was like, man, I'm just gonna pursue and just do my best. They said, financial aid might run out naturally because, I'm exhausting stuff from Alma. That's expensive college. Then Northwood and the community college. So, after, talking to my Spring Lakers and stuff like that, and they liked it, and my college friends, it was like, that's inspiring. Don't give up,
It's so interesting how the people we surround ourselves with play a big part into the mentality. That's what I was getting to.
And I think you just said something key there, Jesus, is the people we surround ourselves with, right? So, I grew up in a neighborhood that was pretty rough, okay? And these were the people that surrounded me. But then you have to make a choice. Who am I going to surround myself with?
100%.
Who am I going to, who do I pick are going to be my friends and my examples, my inspirations? And I'm hearing that from Taylor here, is that he chose, he had these friends, but he chose, I'm going to follow these guys. I'm going to make these guys my friends. I'm going to make these elders my example.
And you dictate your environment. Yeah. So you choose the friends that you have. They don't pick you pick your friends. So I mean, and it's wise of you to decide to listen to the ones that are educated as opposed to the ones that were telling you, oh, go back to working at a factory or doing other things. Not necessarily saying that that's negative, but the fact that you followed through with your education and chose to do that because you knew you could.
You wanted more.
And you wanted more. Yeah. It just shows the type of human being that you are.
Yeah, so we're here with Taylor Foster, the founder of Wolftalk. What's in the future for Taylor?
The future is just simply, right now I'm building in my HR lane, human resource management. I'm just trying to climb that corporate ladder. And it's that simple. I want to be a president of a hospital or, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. And I know I'm doing this based on just simply following my spirit and what I feel like this human being experiencing God wants me to do, because it's just the choice that I've made. And I know this is something that this human being experience needs to see. It's not a lot of figures You know, humans think, you know, they think diversity is sprinkling, you know, putting a black woman in some positions, or putting a Latino woman, or, you know, maybe sprinkling, you know, a Chinese man or woman. Like, you see this in reality. It's just so it's seen. Like, when you go on LinkedIn, you see that when you look at those big board of directors or trustees, but in reality, you ever see, you know, a lot of Latino men or black men?
It's rare the times that you do see people, you know, that represent
in those high exec positions.
Yeah.
It's just like, and people from our culture in our city, you know how it is. They doubt like we could get there. Like, they're not gonna let you do that, or you're not gonna make it, or we don't really see that. Yeah, it's always a sprinkle. It's always a sprinkle of a Latino man or a black man or China. It's sprinkled, and you see. But I'm trying to really push it there to motivate others of our cultures, of all races, of all genders, to not give up and push yourself to be there. Don't go by the stereotypical, the statistical numbers, or just what you know. You
don't let other people choose.
Believe it. If you believe you can go to the NBA, NFL, MLS, you know, soccer, you're Ronaldo. It's like in hockey, like, or why can't you strive to be a surgeon, you know, HR rep, a top, you know, a top entrepreneur. It's like, instead of being a top hustler or dancer or trying to look good, get money off just your looks, image. Yeah. It's like, I want people to, you know, this platform to help others to build on their character, to be there for their families, their friends, and also be the best version of them and the people that created them.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, everybody really has a gift. I think the difficult part is trying to figure out what your gift is.
And accepting that, though, too.
But as far as Wolftalk, where do you see it in the next 10 years? I assume that you want some growth in that.
Yeah, I see Wolftalk as, like I said, not just holding the businesses that I have lined up under the LLC, but I see it as being a great motivational platform. Like right now, to be honest, I appreciate this, you know, the interviews that I've gotten over these years, based on just image and beating some statistical odds and numbers. But I see it as one day I'll be able to really be that example. Wolftalk could be that example in that mode that people need to follow through the results. Like, I want people to see, you know, I genuinely want to keep growing through these 30s, like, and making it. I want to make it to the gray beard, gray hair. I want to make it to, like, really seeing my you know, having that balance in my house with a wife, and growing to be maybe the father I didn't have. Like, I want to experience each level, because God has let me experience every level in a full spectrum of things. Not to be a teen, a toddler, a son, a nephew, a cousin, little brother, little cousin. It's just like levels of things, and I'm glad I know how to be a roommate. I know how to live with a female before marriage, and the results show that you should wait till marriage to avoid confusion, you know, because it's when you are in relationship, and especially with your partner and woman, you have to give. You can't be selfish. It's levels of things. That's why my writing is, for me, sometimes it helps me more than others, and I find it helps a lot of people in my journey, because you have to walk a certain way and make certain choices to last in this. I want to make it till I'm 90 to 100. So it's like, I have a lot of seconds, hours, and days ahead of me. So why rush to act like I know it all? Why rush to be like I'm all of something that I haven't even experienced yet? Right. It's okay to not know things or experience things. So this is a journey. So Wolftalk gonna be big based on my results.
For sure. And the results of the people that follow your content.
Exactly. And I need people to really try the formulas, which is read the writings. Right. And that's why I post twice a week. We post twice a week on the Wolftalk messages. We decided not to do every day, because twice a week we post every Monday and Thursday, Wolftalk messages on Instagram. And we do that so we could allow people to genuinely apply what they read and enjoy the days outside, once you put that phone down and you're by yourself or with your friends or family, are you taking what you read and applying that in your actions? It is showing your results. And that's what, whoever that's following, and I appreciate the 200 plus followers. They reflect Wolftalk, how they choose to live, and their results will show it to see if my writing is really helping them.
Right. And it's a growing community.
Yeah, it's growing. Like I said, hopefully you guys follow after this.
For sure.
I'm getting on there right now.
Put all the plugs at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably get wrapping it up.
All right.
Approaching our limit here.
All right. So if they're looking again for I put Wolfpack. It's not Wolfpack.
Wolftalk messages.
Wolftalk
It is a pack.
It is a pack though. We're a pack, so it's like we need each other to survive, and that's what Wolftalk is. Just forming this huge pack of community people that are striving to live righteous, good, fun, balanced. And, as long as we keep this, this wolf mentality, I feel like this world will keep being balanced. Our state first, because we're Michigan based. Right. As long as we conquer and do good here in our state, the rest of the state and the world will feel it.
Not only that, we're from Grand Rapids.
Exactly.
We love supporting local.
I'm 24 years old. As somebody who's in their 30s, what advice would you give to somebody my age?
I would give, I give... The advice I would give to somebody your age right now: keep adding value to yourself and use your time wisely.
Wow.
It's as simple. The more, if you don't want to be a shoulda story or be like, oh, I don't want to wait for this, or I don't want to. The time is to take advantage of your time right now. Why you don't have kids before marriage? Why you don't have, distractions or a lot of people accessible to you. Add value to yourself, add education, read, work out, stay healthy, connect with your family, learn your roots. The more you know where you're from, the more it inspires you to be better and to create new traditions and vibes for the people around you. So it's really simple. I wouldn't rush anything. Enjoy being 24.
For sure.
I love it. I'll take that. I think that'd be a good place to wrap up. I mean, that words of inspiration, words of wisdom right there from Taylor Foster.
Yeah, thank you for being on the podcast.
We do appreciate your time, man. And for those of you who want to follow, again, Wolftalk, you can find it Wolftalk Messages on Instagram, on Facebook as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Wolftalk. Yep. Taylor Foster.
Yep. You already got one follower right here. You added one
today.
So.
Good.
So again, Wolftalk Messages if you want to find some more content. And again, Taylor Foster, we thank you for your time, man, and we wish you the best. And hopefully we'll get a little more involved in some of your donation work and all that stuff too. Yeah,
I appreciate you guys having me. And, to those listening, just don't give up on yourself. Yeah. Keep striving for your heart desires.
For sure.
And there's no limit on this human being experience. We were created to be great people and experience this thing in the best manner as possible.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Wrap it up on that, man. Thank you for your time.